My name is Ralph Zeitlin. I'll be a guest on this show in the future, but for today I'm the announcer. So let me introduce the producer and host of the show, Helen Yalof.
Ida Crawford Stewart, who is an author, more important, a humanitarian, and also an artist. And Ida, is there anyone finer in the state of Carolina than you?
Hello, Helen.
Hello, Ida.
I'm telling you, it's been a joy to be invited here to be with you today. You know, I have been doing lots of things, but one of the things that I do remember very well is my meeting you at American Association of University Women. It was a rainy day, and there you were standing there pulling your little cart with you, and it's soaking wet. And from then on, I watched you as you did the directing of plays there, and I thought it was magic, that how much you could bring out of nobody, who's nobody, and all of a sudden, here is this person being somebody in a play. And I think in life, that's the most important thing in the world, a gift that you can bring out the very best of somebody that you didn't even know she had it. To me, I rejoiced in that, and I told you that. And I got so brave as to saying I would be your costume
That's
director.
right, you did. You were my costumer.
Yeah, I was going to be your costume director. And so that was loads and loads of fun, because I like hats. We did a play once on Americana. And so out of a catalog, I got all of these caps, shiny bright red, shiny bright blue, and shiny bright white. And they were in the wardrobe. And all of a sudden one day, I decided that I'd just take them out and wear them on the street. It has been a tremendous success.
People stop you all the time with the caps on.
Yes.
The sequins, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yes.
They're like jockey hats with the little
jockey. I was at the hospital the other day, sitting and waiting in a waiting room, and this man and woman, they were so entranced by my cap, and so I wanted to know where I got them. But I have such a good story about those. I have a story about everything. The Southerners do.
Southerners do what?
They
have
have
stories?
a story about everything. I don't care what it is. And so it's great fun. And you stood behind me in all the things that I wanted to do. And whenever I decided that I would like to have a garden in Murray Hill.
Yeah.
And in the back of the American Association of University Women's
it was a patio in the
patio,
backyard
yes.
patio.
And because I wanted to be on the show, be on the route of the garden show.
Oh, that's right. They were having a Murray Hill.
Oh yes, every year they did. And so betwixt me and everybody else, we had a gorgeous garden, and I asked Helen to put it on videotape.
That's right.
And it's here on this show, on this network, and I think still being seen.
Did what?
It's still being shown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for
I'm
sure.
going to show clips of it with your interview, by the way.
Oh, okay. So but that was something that I absolutely adored. And one of the other things that we did was one morning I went back to the garden early in the morning, and there was a pigeon. And the pigeon was very sick.
Yes.
And so a friend and myself took the pigeon and took him to the hospital and nursed him back to health. His name was Diablo. And so Diablo lived with us in an apartment.
In Sutton Place.
No, for 3 years.
Yeah.
And every night I slept with Diablo right on my face.
Really?
Yes. And so I hope you'll show a couple of pictures of Diablo.
Well, you don't remember, but I once asked you before you knew me too well, because I had just started Manhattan Neighbor Network here, if I could interview you, and you said, no. And I had a feeling you were watching me or something, because at a certain point you came to me and you said, I would like you to do a movie of the garden. And I commissioned me, and I said, oh, okay. Hadn't done a garden before, but I figured it out. And then after and there was no sound, nobody talked. It's just the garden and music, beautiful music in the background. And people really liked it. I mean, I showed it to various places, and they said this should be given to people for stopping anxiety. Mm-hmm. And then you came to me about the pigeon, and I'd never shot animals before, but I figured it out. My brother's a naturalist, and we spent a lot of time on Diablo the pigeon, who incidentally seemed to want to mate with me.
Yes, yes, he wanted to roost in your head.
Yes, he kept flying at me, and he kept wanting to nibble, which I found out later. Nibble my feet and drink my Coca-Cola. Is this okay? Which I found out later. I moved this around. Is this okay? Which I found out later was a mating thing.
Oh, that was?
Yes, that was a behavior. It was trying to make me into his harem.
Oh.
So I had a special relationship with Diablo where he kept flying at me.
And one of the other things I have asked Helen to do for me is that I belong to a writing club, and we had assignments. I guess I was in the club for about 5 years.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of writing on it. But I wanted that my poems and my essays, because they show the way I feel inside, the way I feel, not what I observed, but what I felt. And one of my poems is Stumps, which Helen does not understand at all.
Most people do not understand that.
No, most people don't. But
or they get upset by the word
yes.
stump.
But stumps mean a lot to me. I'm from South Carolina, and we know about stumps and lots of other things that maybe other people don't know about.
Do you know about stumps?
Oh, well, I know that whenever a tree falls down and loses its leaves, but it never loses its roots because it's deep down. But as it rots and gives a home to all kinds of bugs and worms and everything like that, you see it as nothing. I see it only as a metaphor for aging. It's exactly a metaphor.
Well, and how specifically? How specifically?
With me.
With you?
With me. You know, I break a leg, it doesn't heal. You know, it doesn't heal. I used to be able to go to swimming every day, even last year. But this year, I can't. And so I'm getting down to my stumps. But I want my roots to still be alive. And I'm so happy that you are keeping it alive by putting these poems and so on together.
I'm editing her
book.
One of her books. Yes.
One of them. But I'm an author otherwise, Helen.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, because I wrote, helped write, and also illustrated a book that's still being used in college courses on camping.
Really?
Yes, that's right. And the woman who asked me to start illustrating it worked at Winthrop University, where I was working, teaching, and she asked me to illustrate the book because she taught camping. I know nothing about camping, but I said, oh yeah. I tell everybody, oh yes, I'll do anything. I may not have another chance. And so when we didn't finish it during one summer, we had to find a place so we could finish it, because she already had sold the book to a publishing company. So we went down to Charleston, South Carolina, and lived on the island.
Oh.
And it was really a shack. It was called a shack because that's what houses are called on the South Carolina beaches, when it's just a shack. we had one little light bulb up there. We had ice box that you brought home, a lump of ice, put it in the box, and put a pan underneath it, so where the melted drips. And we had one kerosene stove. And I remember the night that Prince Charles was born. I sat up all night listening to a little radio, and I was sitting in Charleston, South Carolina. And now I see him as an old man. It does distress me.
Ida, how old are you?
I'm 93 going on 94.
So, when you were a child, did you expect your life would turn out the way it did?
Of course not. And it wouldn't have been any fun living it. You know, I don't think anybody can expect what your life is going to be, because that's the whole secret of my book.
Yeah.
It's what is happening outside that forces you to do certain things. And my two sisters were at college, and then I came along. They had two choices, to either to teach or work in the telephone company. That was it. But because of the war, my graduating class, they were wax and they were waves. You know, the whole wide world started opening up. We had, we even think about air conditioning, all the things that have happened since then. And everything that happened was just because. And that's the name of my autobiography.
Just because.
Just because. And how I got that name was when I first went to Estee Lauder Cosmetic Company.
Well, that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
And the reason she hired me
Yes.
was because I wore a sort of a pinky suit,
Pinky suit, pink suit.
And a pinky hat. So in her biography, she wrote that she hired me because I had on that suit.
A pink suit.
A pink suit.
Some people asked her, why did you hire her? Because she wore a pink suit.
That's right. That's right.
What's the meaning of that, or have you no idea about that?
Well, I don't know. That was an appeal that she liked it. The hat, though, was just full of little pink flowers. It came to a very unhappy ending, but it was so much fun. I was going to the West Coast, to California, San Francisco, to work on Estee Lauder things. And it was a long trip then, a very long trip. And that was the time when the liquor really flowed, and we had a piano on the
train,
on the plane,
on the plane or the train, plane,
and a bar and all the things. And so there was a very happy group of people.
Was this a private plane or regular plane?
No, regular commercial plane. It stopped here, St. Louis, and it stopped here too. And so one very tipsy man thought he ought to water the flowers. And with that, he picked up a whole big jug of water.
Oh, no.
And said, I'm going to water the flowers. And there was these flowers coming down. My eyeliner was going down my face. But we so happy. A lot of wonderful stories have come out just because.
So you need to tell a little bit about what you did for Estee Lauder.
I did everything for Estee Lauder.
Was this in the very beginning when she started out?
Oh, in the very beginning. So we took orders. Anybody who answered the telephone would say, may I help you? If you, for a store called in and wanted a gross of this and a gross of that. So I took the orders and sent them to the factory. And then when we needed so many jars or so many bottles, I took the one bottle that we needed, put it on a yellow piece of paper, and drew the picture like that, and sent it off to the glass people to make the glass. Said, I need 2 gross of this or that, or 10 gross of that and that. That's how the orders were made.
This is for cosmetics.
Cosmetics, yes, all cosmetics. And then I helped to go to the place where it was made, the face powders, and the lipsticks and eyeshadows. So they were designed on my desk with Mrs. Lauder, and it was lots and lots of fun, and I loved my job. I really and truly loved it.
And
But
you
I'm-
liked Estee Lauder? Yes. What were you going
Yeah.
to just say? It was interrupted you.
Well, I fall in love very easily. You know, I'm very promiscuous. Because of my first job here in New York was I was the Apana toothpaste girl for Bristol Myers, and at that time Bucky Beaver was on the television selling Apana toothpaste, and my job was going around to schools trying to teach children how to brush their teeth, and with Apana toothpaste. So I made a big poster of Bucky Beaver, and Bucky Beaver and I went to all of these schools, and children would come in, you know, to chapel, and I was to teach them how to brush their teeth. And so this is the way you brush your teeth. If you don't know how to do it, I'll teach you. Do you know how to brush your teeth, Helen?
No. With Ipana, but first I've got to sing my song. Ida, is there anyone finer in the state of Carolina than you? Okay. What about Ipana and brushing her teeth?
You.
The right
this
way.
Is it. You're up like a rocket,
Up like a rocket,
down like a plane,
down like a plane,
back and forth like a choo-choo train.
back and
That's
forth.
that's
Up
right.
like a rocket, down like a plane.
That's right.
Back and forth
And
like
all
a
these
choo-
little
choo
kids
train.
would jump up in the air.
They would jump up in the air.
Yeah, yeah. I was
So
squatting
you were doing
down.
this with a class or what? Where'd you get these kids?
They were in a chapel, in an auditorium.
In an auditorium.
Yeah, about 300 little kids there, you know, in grammar grades and whatever else. And we were rocking and rolling. And I had this picture of Bucky Beaver. Bucky Beaver.
Who's Bucky Beaver?
He was a commercial on television.
A commercial on television.
For Brusher, Brusher, Brusher.
Was it actual beaver? I mean,
Yeah,
a cartoon beaver?
It was a cartoon.
Or was
beaver.
there a person dressed as a beaver?
No. It was
Cartoon beaver.
Cartoon beaver.
Bucky Beaver.
And that was my traveling mate. Everywhere I went.
Well, how did he travel with you if he's a cartoon?
I had to cut him out.
Oh, you cut out of him.
I cut him out, and he was big. He was about this big. So
Oh,
Bucky
I
B
see.
would say, up like a rocket, down like a plane, back and forth like a choo-choo train. It was a lot of fun.
So-
it was loads of fun.
Well, you're talking about children, and you briefly outside told me about your childhood. And you know, the past as we had it no
Mhm.
longer exists because times have changed like crazy. It's not the same world. So I think it would be important if you tell us a little bit about your childhood and your father. You grew up in the 20s, you were born in the 20s in the Depression.
No,
Not quite the Depression yet.
Yeah, it was in a very after the war. And,
After World War One.
One, yeah,
Yeah.
after one. Yes.
Right, I'm a two baby.
Yeah.
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 So anyway, I was the third of my mother and father's children, and then later on, my brother came along. But I had a big problem. I was the only one of the other three children. Their hair was Dutch boy yellow. It was a Dutch boy paint, and the big advertisement.
Oh, their
was
hair was
Dutch.
yellow. That
Their
bright
hair
yellow.
was yellow.
Yes.
Yellow. Mine was black.
Naughty lady. Naughty.
Oh, I know. But what happened, which was really very bad, and
Bad.
ended beautifully.
Why?
Whenever we'd go any place, people would say, "Roy, where did you get the little black-headed one?"
And this is down south, right?
Yeah. He said, "Oh, I got it from Sears Roebuck." And I knew that the others came by the stalk.
But you came by Sears
but
Roebuck.
I came by the mailman. And it bothered me that I was different. You know, I was different.
The black hair.
But I had black hair, and I don't know why I have black hair, but I had black hair. And it bothered me terribly, and I was very concerned. So one night I was sniffling and crying, and my grandfather, who lived with us, heard me, because you know how you cry, so everybody can hear you. So I knew if somebody would come to see me if I was loud enough. And my grandfather said, come. He said, let's look at their Sears Roebuck. And I'm sitting there in heaven with my grandfather, with a country fire there, and a lamp, kerosene lamp. And he said, yeah, let's look. Sears Roebuck was about good 6 inches tall, like that thick. And the first part of it was always dolls at that time. And he said, whoa. He said, which doll do you like best? Which one do you like best? I said, oh, I don't know. All of them are so beautiful. And my grandfather said, isn't it wonderful that out of all these children, your father and mother chose you? And I have always, since that night.
From the Sears Roebuck catalog.
Yeah.
Whereas the others just came by the stalk.
Yeah.
Hell.
Yeah, because I was chosen.
You were chosen.
I was chosen. And that has held me straight and forward. Just like I was chosen, this woman chose me to illustrate her book. Mrs. Lauder chose me out of all the people who were looking for jobs. She chose me.
Pink suit.
Yeah, pink suit. And also with the Bristol Myers, they chose me out of all those people. And I was there 10 years, and I was fired. And when I was fired, it was for this. It was very good because it fired me up, for one thing. But on the other hand, and I accepted it. And it was because the man who did fire me in that company,
Fire you.
he fired me,
Yeah.
said, you don't have to work. Your husband can work, and you don't have to work. That was the way why he fired me.
That was what?
That's why he fired me,
Oh.
because I was a woman,
Right.
okay?
Right.
So that showed what the times were.
Yeah.
This was when I went to Bristol Myers in Rockefeller Center. They didn't have air conditioning. On the hot days, we sent home early. So that again is what things that were happening, you know, at certain times showed that.
Can you tell us a little bit about Estee Lauder? I think people might be interested in knowing her character or the children, because you were friendly with them.
Oh yeah, I was friendly with them. I was very always. If I worked for somebody, I worked for them. And I worked only, while I was there, I worked only for Mrs. Lauder. And these are kinds of things that I want people to know about. Mrs. Lauder would say, I love my femininity, but I rely on my strength. Now, I think that's a tremendous line for people to know. You have both.
Right.
You rely on that. You don't rely on femininity. But I enjoy my femininity.
Was she one of the first women to do cosmetics?
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, no. Now I should remember. At the moment, Elizabeth Arden.
Oh,
was
Elizabeth
there.
Arden, yeah.
And I keep saying Adele Simpson, but she's I can't remember the other ones. But oh no, women. And you know, during that time, the first woman, black woman, who'd have $1 million. She was for hair.
A hair product?
A hair products, yeah. She she was well known, but she was the first woman, black woman, to have $1 million. is
Mhm.
interesting because cosmetics is an old
It's old,
thing.
old thing.
Yes.